Okay, so I hope I am audible. I do apologize, guys. So the thing is, going live with Zoom and this kind of a setup is getting a bit difficult for us because there are so many technical things involved, and going live right now, it gets a bit difficult for us. So still, let us not complain about it. Let's go back and let's focus on the topic which we are going to discuss. Is fastest way, the fastest way to actually learn programming, or I would say fastest way to learn anything. Now, obviously, if you guys have any questions, I would recommend that please make sure that you're putting that in the comments section. Yeah, so awesome. I am audible. I'm getting so many notifications right now. Anyways, so let's start this discussion with everyone. And the discussion is quite simple. What is the fastest way to learn something? Now, why do we want to learn fast? Because the companies are changing scenarios so soon, and I'm a student right now. I don't have any experience. I don't know what will happen in next 6 months if I'm applying for a job. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a good internship or not. So how can I learn things faster? Because what is happening, I want to make career in computer science. I want to make I want to make career in IT. I want to make career in tech. I want to work with giants like Google. I want to work with Facebook. I want to work with Microsoft. I want to work with Tesla or whatnot. But the problem is, I'm not able to learn at the faster pace. And I'm watching so many tutorials. There is a React.js tutorial. There is AngularJS DB tutorial. There is Python tutorial. There is everything. But I'm unable to learn anything. I watch maybe 5 hours video. I clone the application, but when someone asks me, hey, can you make a simple login page? I struggle. Well, what is the solution behind that? So first of all, let's try to understand from the logical point of view, not the emotional point of view. It's not that you're not able to learn. That's your emotional point of view, that okay, I'm not able to learn, I'm not built for this kind of a thing, or maybe I need to watch some more motivation movies to actually learn something. Well, this is not how things work. How things work are very simple. You have to understand you are a human being, and human beings learn in a different way compared to what we are actually doing. We learn things practically. What do you mean by practically? Like, do you want me to go to my science lab and do the practicals, like putting some water there and putting some water there? Not like that. The problem with tutorials is, let's first of all address this. The problem with the tutorial is, the flow of the tutorial is just one way. Okay, they're going to make this button red. So what I'll do, I'll create an ID, and then I'm going to create a background of this color is going to be red, or maybe I'm going to use a hexadecimal, and then I'll give a border. Then I'll actually make it transparent kind of a thing. I'll give some round border, or then I'll add a hover effect. Fine, you learned everything about it. But the problem is, the person who is teaching it, he already knows why he's doing what he wants to do, why he's using an ID, or maybe why he is using a class. Let's take an example of Java. Okay, I want to create a Fibonacci series. So maybe I can use this loop, maybe I can use that loop. Fine. So they are teaching you what they already know. Obviously, that's why they are teaching. But they are teaching in a best efficient way what they have learned, how they have learned. You never saw them when they were learning it for the very first time. But now you're learning for the very first time. So what you can do, you have to understand, watching a tutorial is not going to be the right way of learning things. Right way of learning things is going to be more hands-on approach. That means I am not just learning, but I'm also doing things practically. So if someone says create a login page, I am actually doing it right now. I'm starting to code. So what is happening in the back of your brain? You're thinking, I need a login page. That means I need to get a user input. That means I need to have two fields. One is going to where they are going to input their email address. And second field is where they are going to input their password. That means I need a field which can hide the password. Now, guys, if you can hear some background noise, I'm at my home right now. So obviously kids are enjoying their Saturday. Okay, so please, I mean, let them play. We are here to learn. So you are now thinking, okay, why do I need to do this? I need to do that. I need to do this. I need to do that. Now, when you start thinking, you're thinking for a possible solution as well, even if you don't know. Even if you don't know, your brain is thinking, okay, what is the possible solution? I'll give you an example. If I leave you in a totally new city in India or maybe abroad, and I'll ask you, okay, from this place to this place, you have to go, even if you don't know, you will start thinking, okay, this place looks in the north direction and my face is towards south. That means I have to move back. Why don't I ask this person? You can see your brain is starting to process, I need the answer to that particular problem. That means I want to move from place A to place B. Same thing happens with the programming. If I talk about, if you want to approach a problem, you have to first find out that you have to actually solve the problem. Nobody's good. Like if someone is actually handing you out the dishes, if someone is actually handing out the spoon and they're just spoon feeding you, that is worst way to learn. So please make sure that you're learning things practically. Okay, Avinash, you said that I should be learning things practically. But how can I do that? I don't know anything about it. Well, first of all, try to understand one thing. Learning practically does not mean that you have to do something different. Let me repeat. Learning something practically does not mean that you have to do something different. Learning practically means you are doing things in a different way which are actually there. I'll give you an example. Again, this is confusing. Instead of going to YouTube and watching the tutorials, you can actually become part of hackathons. You can become part of boot camps. What will happen? They will give you a statement. Okay, you have to solve this. Create a program which is going to find a prime number. Now, you already know a lot of things. This is a variable, this is a constant, this is a loop, this is that, and this is this. Now you have to think to actually solve this problem. And now when you're thinking, you can find a solution and you can learn faster there. Reason, there are so many hackathons which are happening because in hackathons, you have a pressure. It's not kind of a pressure where people are beating you and there is an examination pressure. No, there is a pressure, there is a deadline which you cannot afford to lose. They say within 72 hours, make this application. Now you're not thinking about, okay, how can I make it better application? How can I make it perfect application? You don't go to YouTube and you start cloning that application. No, you think, okay, this is my application. I need to implement such things. Let's do it. I'm going to use Firebase. I'm going to use AWS. I'm going to use Microsoft Azure. That's it. When idea comes to you, you go to their documentation. How do I implement login with AWS? You receive an answer. You have to use AWS Cognito. Now you learned about, okay, what is AWS Cognito? Then you move to the next phase. How do I connect with my API? That means, can I use serverless functionality? Okay, what is a serverless functionality? AWS Lambda is search serverless functionality. How to implement? You build a very simple solution around it. What happened? You learn so many things in such a separate, or I would say in such a, I would say in less duration. How does it impact you? Well, it impacts you in a very important way. And that way is, company want people who can actually learn things with limited resources and can implement solution. I'll repeat. Company want people who can learn new things with limited resources and can implement solutions using that. Just imagine if you're working at Google. Billions of people are using your platform to search something. Billions of people are coming to your platform to watch watch a video. Now there is a challenge which is coming there. You are unable to solve. What you will do? You cannot simply go to Google, or you cannot go to Stack Overflow and say, hey, I'm working at YouTube and our login page is not working. Can you tell me what to do? No, because if you're going to do that, you've already lost so many customers because of your inabilities, they are unable to log in. So you have to think of a solution there itself. You won't believe, I have the certification from AWS, I have the certification from Microsoft Azure. These certifications I did not get just by going through documentation, learning continuously with the tutorials. I learned them more practically. I used to teach a lot of people. And while teaching, I learned a lot of things. While implementing practicals, I learned a lot of things. My company needed a way with which we can scale the solution. So what we did, I was not aware that there is a way of putting database in a separate place and putting a compute in a separate place. I learned through that example. Nobody taught me. There were so many tutorials which were available there, but they were not helping me out. How to use the system administration program. I learned the system admin part, if I talk about, just by logging into system and start implementing something. Okay, my server is down. This is the problem. Apache is creating an issue. This is the problem. I Googled and I learned. I learned more things practically compared to learning things theoretically. So if you want to learn fastest way to learn a programming, I would say start implementing practical things. Because if you can put this thing into work, you don't have to work. It sounds funny. If you can put this thing, your brain, into work, you don't have to work. It is going to work on behalf of you. So to sum it up, if you want to learn programming in the fastest way, get into a zone where you're doing things practically. There is some pressure, there is some deadline for you, and the solutions will come because that is what your brain is supposed to do. So go to boot camps, go to hackathons where things are going practically. What we are planning, we are also planning where we can implement such things where we are having a group session of maybe 5 or 10 people who are interested to learn a new programming language or maybe new things. We will do things practically. We will learn things practically. And that's what our vision is. So I hope this quick live session was fruitful for you guys. Now we will be making some changes to our channel. We are more focused towards not just providing you education, but also helping you get a job. So we are implementing some things in the background. Obviously, things will unveil as we move forward. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, which I believe you have, so put them in the chat section and let me see if I can answer them. Obviously, I'll be able to answer them. And if I'm not, I'll find a person who can answer those questions for you. So with this, the fastest way to learn programming live session is over. I can see you guys have no questions right now. So that means I can sign off, and obviously reach us out. If you have any questions, put them in the comment, and that's the best way for us to answer your queries. With this, thank you for watching, and we will connect in the next live session.